The Turning Point in the European Theater During World War II by Tyler J. Camp. This video is for high school history students ages 14 through 16. The Ohio Department of Education Standards states that by the end of the 9th and 10th grade program, students should connect developments related to World War I with the onset of World War II and analyze connections between World War II, the Cold War, and contemporary conflicts. Adolf Hitler rose to power in the 1930s when Germany and the rest of the world was in a deep economic recession. He was an influential leader and used his prior training and experience in World War I to advance to the top of the German government. Under the Treaty of Versailles that ended World War I, Germany was not allowed to have any military at all. But on September 1st, 1939, Hitler went against this treaty and attacked Poland. After defeating Poland, he went to the rest of the European mainland, conquering such countries like France, Hungary, Norway, Sweden, and others. Joseph Stalin was the leader of Communist Russia after Vladimir Lenin. Stalin was very paranoid with his generals and killed most of them. After Germany had defeated Poland, Stalin and Hitler signed a non-aggression pact, but this pact would be short-lived. Under the name Operation Barbarossa, Hitler invaded the Soviet Union, pushing very deep into Russia, and also encircling such major cities like Leningrad, Moscow, and Stalingrad. The turning point on the Eastern Front in World War II. Hitler's 6th Army, led by General Friedrich Paulus, was the best that Hitler had. Hitler said himself that his 6th Army could fight to heaven itself and win. The 6th Army was ordered to take Stalingrad, a very strategic city on the river Volga that had access to the Black Sea and even into the Middle East for oil. The Battle of Stalingrad started in September 1942. Hitler wanted this battle to be short, long before the Russian winter would set in. The Russian winter is what doomed Napoleon Bonaparte more than 100 years earlier when he himself tried to take Russia. But the citizens in Stalingrad and the Russian military would not give up so easily, and the Battle of Stalingrad did go long into the Russian winter, with many of the men in the 6th Army not receiving their winter uniforms. With the Russian winter setting in, and the supply lines to Hitler's 6th Army running short, Stalin saw this as a great time to strike. Instead of taking Stalingrad from the inside out, Stalin decided to take the city from the outside in. Thousands of Russian tanks and infantry surrounded the 6th Army that surrounded Stalingrad. Paulus knew his supply lines were now officially cut and could not survive. On February 1st, 1943, Paulus surrendered. The Battle of Stalingrad was over, and the Red Army was pushing west. Hitler was now on the defense in the Eastern Front. The Western Theater of World War II. With the German army fighting in the east, Hitler sent his famous Air Force, or Luftwaffe, to attack Britain. The first bombs that fell on Britain started in September 1940. The Royal Air Force, or RAF, was Britain's only hope to stop Hitler from total domination in Europe. But the Luftwaffe seemed too much for the RAF, and London was getting its first action in World War II. Many British citizens had to flee into underground bunkers and the subway system to survive. It seemed like the Royal Air Force had finally run out, and the Luftwaffe was finally going to bomb Britain into submission, until, on December 7th, 1941, fate had intervened. The United States is pushed out of isolationism and into World War II. Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941. Without any surprise or declaration of war, Japan had bombed Pearl Harbor. The USS Arizona and the rest of the ships were important to the American fighting force in the Pacific. The Japanese knew they had to destroy the Arizona and all the other ships in nicknamed Battleship Row for the Japanese to continue their expansion in the Pacific. The USS Arizona was the only battleship to be destroyed, but over 1,000 men are still entombed in this great battleship. Pearl Harbor had now started World War II for the United States. The bombing is pushed out of Britain, and Germany was now on the defense. With the combination of the U.S. Air Force and the Royal Air Force, Germany could not reach Britain for any longer, and the U.S. Air Force and the Royal Air Force was now attacking such strong points in France and Germany. The turning point on the Western Front in World War II. On June 6, 1944, the United States, along with British and Canadian forces and other Allied powers, had landed on Normandy Beach. These men had just one mission: to kick down Hitler's front door and establish a toehold in mainland Europe for supplies and men to filter in and take back Europe from the Germans. With D-Day over and the Allies having a firm toehold in the West and the Russians sweeping eastward, Hitler knew the war was about to end, and he was on the defensive from now until the end of World War II in Europe in April 1945. The end. Thank you for watching.